What is up, my beautiful friends? My name is GarthStone, and today I'm going to talk about which Dead Space is the best Dead Space of all Dead Spaces. So the first Dead Space we're going to talk about is Dead Space 3. I did not like Dead Space 3. It was the worst of them all. The horror was almost completely gone. It was mostly action, and the action was not even that good because the first two games were completely reliant on the dismemberment on the creatures, and that was the best part of it. I really loved dismembering all the monstrosities that were walking around, but in part 3 it was almost completely gone. The only thing I really liked about the game was the weapon combining. It was very interesting and very cool, and you can make some very funny combinations with that. But yeah, that's why I do not like Dead Space 3 at all. It was just not a very interesting game in comparison to the other two. It was still a decent game, but not for me anymore. So, moving on, now we're going to talk about Dead Space 1, the first one in the entry. Yeah, from 3 to 1, I don't care, I like this order, okay? So, anyway, the first one had an amazing story. It was interesting, it was a fresh of breath air. It was a... what? It was a breath of fresh air, holy hell. Jesus. Yeah, no, I don't blame my Dutch accent for this at all. Anyway, it was a breath of fresh air, and it was very interesting. It was claustrophobic, it was horrifying, it was just creepy in every single way, and you were aboard the Ishimura. It was a spaceship, and there were all these horrifying, the thing-like creatures. They were first human, but just morphed into something very creepy and fucked up. And the story was very, very interesting. But eventually we got to the puzzles, and the puzzles, some of them were very interesting and cool, but others were just not very fun for me to play. It was very, very boring. Eventually you had to go back to other places where you've been before, and it was just a drag for me. But that is my opinion. So, now let's talk about Dead Space 2, the best Dead Space of them all. And why do I think this? Well, I'm going to explain to you right now. The gameplay is the best of them all. It's very agile and very perfected, and when you shoot at the monsters, the necromorphs, it is very satisfying. I don't know why, I really enjoyed it, just to shooting them when there was nothing left but dismembered corpse and pieces were everywhere. I really enjoyed that. The story was also interesting. The game was still full of action, but it also had very good horror elements in them. You can still really tell it was a good horror game. It was not a better horror game than the first one, but the gameplay is just that much better. Also, they introduced very disturbing things in this game. It was very bold of them to do. One of them is, for example, a baby necromorph that exploded. There were literally exploding babies in this game, which I found very, very dark and very funny at the same time. I'm sorry I find this funny, but when I saw it explode, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? So eventually in this game I was in the kindergarten, and there were all these child and baby necromorphs, and I was just stomping my way through the kindergarten, and I was like, this is not morally acceptable, I think, but that is just one of the little things I like in this game. So if you do not like my opinion on this, if you think the other two are better, you are wrong. So, there you have it, guys. Dead Space 2 is the best Dead Space of all Dead Spaces. But if you want more of a horror feel to it, you have to go with Dead Space 1. And if you want more of an open world and weapon customization and huge necromorphs, then you have to go with Dead Space 3. But it is the only good thing it has going for it. So, what do you think is the best Dead Space of them all? Leave it down in the comments below and give me your opinion why you think this is the best Dead Space. So, anyway, now go kill those messed up children necromorphs in part 2. Yeah, I have problems. Shut up. Anyway, have an awesome day, you awesome people, and GarthStone out.